Hello friends, this is Professor Venkat Iyer from V School, Welingkar, Mumbai. This afternoon I'm going to take you through a journey of a topic called middle managers, opportunities and challenges, rather challenges and opportunities. It's a very interesting topic, probably it's not been covered much, so let me start off by defining who's a middle manager. You know, all of us start our career at some level or the other at the bottom. We start off as trainees, we start off as junior executives, and as we go along, we start becoming more adept in the job that we do. We get competent in what we do. And as we get competent, we start feeling confident about the way in which we are doing our work. I repeat, we get confident about the way we are doing our work, right? Now, each one of us adopts some behavior which actually works to make us successful. Each one of us adopts a type of a behavior, a set of practices through fits and starts, through trial and error, which makes us competent. Each one of us has got our own paths towards success. Now, this being the case, what really happens is we find ourselves pretty much confident in whatever we do. And this confidence in turn results in our success. So, once again, I'll repeat, when we start with trial and error, fits and starts, and we develop certain types of behaviors, certain types of positions through which we guys start becoming adept at whatever we do. We gain the competence of whatever we do. And as we gain the competence, we start feeling confident about our way of doing things. Underline, our way of doing things. So obviously, some behavior of mine which has given me success, which has taken me to the position where I am today, starts making me feel confident and also complacent, to the point to which I think this is it. Now, when I do this, I am settled in my behavior. Typically, a middle manager is one who has approximately, let's say, 8 to 10 to 12 years experience, work experience. He or she may be at a level of an HOD, slightly higher perhaps, in what we call it as the strategic level of the organization. In an organization, there are three levels: the corporate level at the top, the middle level, which is the strategic level, and the lower level, which is the operational level. All three require different types of behavior, different types of outlook, so that they perform the tasks done. Now here, a middle manager, what does he do? He has become successful, he has tasted blood, he's pretty good, and he or she starts functioning to the point of competence and success. Now comes a very critical stage, and some of you who are listening to me, middle managers, I'm sure you'll agree, you come to a stage where you seem stuck. You're doing your best, but nothing is happening. You're not finding yourself going up. And the worst that can happen is you start losing fluck. You start losing your enthusiasm, which was there at the time when you were at the operational level. Now, this is one part of the story. Next, what happens? This behavior of yours is so very, if I can use the word defensive, that when someone tries to tell you, look, this behavior needs a change, you might give justifications about why it is not required. As a leadership trainer, I train a lot of organizations at this middle management and even higher levels, and this is one thing which I find rampant in practically every organization where I go. Whether it's an IT organization, an FMCG, an engineering consulting firm, or whatever. Now, this is a type of a mindset which we develop unknowingly, it just happens. That's why there's a lot of stuck up people in the middle management level in many organizations. You could be one of them. Next, you have skills. You have skills which are pretty good for what you're doing till now. But have you developed skills for the future? Let me take you through the dialogue which we normally have in many scenarios, the difference between a manager and a leader. The manager is a person who is given certain targets, certain resources, and certain control boundaries. He works in a position in an organization, and he is also given a designation. A designation like an HOD or a DGM or a VP, there are many fancy ones. So this manager does his task to the best of his abilities and competence, and he develops. Now, he is in a box. He's got some control conditions around him. So an average manager is a good performer when it comes to the tasks given to him and the targets that he's supposed to achieve. However, we all know that organizations at the top level, they keep screaming that we would like to have progress, innovation, the buzzword. They would keep screaming, saying that we want to have something better than this. We want to capture the market. We want to increase our market share. Growth. So many buzzwords in an ever-changing world that we are in today. Now what happens to this person? This person is in a box. He knows that he has got creativity. I repeat, you who's listening to me, you know you are creative. You know that there are solutions to many issues. I'm sure all of you agree with me. Heart of hearts, you know, knowing the company, knowing yourself in terms of the competence you have, you know pretty well that I know the solution, but you seem to be stuck. You seem to be stuck. What is making you seem to be stuck? The fact that you are having some boundaries in which you want to work, and you stay with the commandment that thou shalt not violate the boundaries. On one hand, there's a need for you to grow, and you know you can grow by unleashing your creativity into innovation. On the other hand, the control boundaries and even the security that you're facing because of the job stops you from going ahead. Reflect over it, my dear friends. This is something that happens to many, many middle managers by their own confession to me. The other thing, the other challenge that you go through is by design or default, you are into a play safe, risk averse behavior. Once you settle down, you are settled to the point to which you don't want to take any much of risk. When you want to prove yourself, don't you take a risk. But you have reached a stage where you are more or less settled at the home front. Socially also things are okay with you, and you feel that it's okay now. I will take less risk so that I don't get into trouble. Now this is something that happens quite often to many middle managers. By default, more than design, they avoid risk. Now that being the case, we also have to understand one thing, that a middle manager is a bundle of creative energy. So many years of experience, so many challenges he or she has gone through, adverse situations in which they have performed. And after doing all that, there comes a stage where they feel stuck. It could create a sense of frustration. It could make them feel, in what we say in corporate terms, they go through what is called as a corporate menopause. And that can really pull down their efficiency, and the very task in which they have been good so far might actually be not done so well. So now this is a type of a state into which people get in, the middle manager. And the most rampant thing I notice is they find it difficult, challenging to put up what I call it as a bottom-up communication towards the top management, the corporate level. There are certain truths to be told about business, certain things that have to be changed, certain hard-hitting facts that have to be conveyed. Now the middle managers, by and large, would find it quite difficult, challenging to put it across the top management. And certain cultures, for example, do not have this policy, do not have this type of an openness to allow these things to happen. There are very few cultures I've come across where the top management encourages bottom-up communication and making things happen. Now, this is something which managers need to go through and understand that this is where I stand. They also have an aversion, I would say, because of the way they have worked their way up. There have been people who have been once upon a time freshers, they were chaotic, and then gradually as we progress, we start becoming more and more systematic, more and more organized. Now, it is important to be organized. It is important to have your table clean. It is very important to see that everything is properly done. Systematic way of reporting, everything is important. There is no doubt about it. But there comes a stage where you stop tolerating chaotic conditions. You stop tolerating chaotic conditions. You can't take chaos. Practically every one of us, as we progress in life, the older we grow and the more organized we are, we start criticizing chaos. Now let me ask you a question. Leaders, people who work under adverse conditions, do you think they have everything in a plate in a clean form? Are they all the time facing situations which are zero chaos? Very rarely. How do they perform? And why is it that some of us get blown away by chaos? Why is it that we get critical about people who are chaotic? Why is it that we get critical about anything that is chaotic to the point of which we clear up the chaos and bring it into a decluttered situation? I am not advocating clutter. I am not advocating chaos. Let me be very clear. I am asking each of us to think, am I chaos tolerant? Am I chaos tolerant? Now, if I answer this question to myself, I realize I am not chaos tolerant. Things have to be systematic. Just to give you an example, the shoot is going on right now. Okay? Now, when the shoot is going on, there is a certain protocol through which the whole thing has been set up. It goes in a systematic process. Now, God forbid, midway something goes wrong. Do my team who are supporting me, do we have the capacity to switch gears and yet make the thing happen as successfully, as effectively as we have planned? I repeat, this situation is a lovely situation which has been planned, and here I am talking to you. Now, if, God forbid, something goes wrong, suddenly a chaos creeps in, do we, my team and me, have the capacity to quickly switch gears and do the same task of this video shoot as effectively as possible? I am sure many of you listening to me will agree, it is difficult, it is challenging. Now, the point that I would like to know is, we need to understand that we have to look into areas where many people are performing well, but we find ourselves not able to do it. You come across leaders who are pretty good in what they do, but you realize, where am I going wrong? Where am I going wrong is what I start feeling. Now, this situation is a little challenging, because on one hand, you know you can do it, and your past behavior, your habits are not allowing you to let go into breakthrough areas. Now, these are some of the challenges which I wanted to share with you. But with these challenges, there is something very interesting. And the purpose of this talk is to open up each of us to what are called as opportunities. Now, look at it from a different angle. You are a person with considerable amount of experience. You have a status in the organization. You are holding a position, and you are able to map the company much better. Is it not a fact? You know who's who, you know where are the hot buttons, and you've got a very clear picture about things. Is that not enough for you to take a step further and put yourself into a risk of taking decisions, of thinking differently from the normal for the very thing that you want to do? Very few of us are willing to make breakthroughs. I come across some of my ex-students who keep telling me, sir, I've reached up to this point and beyond this I am finding it challenging to go. When I observe them closely, they are not into what I call it as leadership thinking. So I'm introducing you to leadership thinking, which is a very important part of a middle manager growing up. The middle manager has got ample scope to become a leader. Now, who is a leader? A leader is also a manager, but he is a person who goes beyond the confinement of the rules of the organization. He is a rule breaker, but he is not illegitimate, he is not illegal. What rules does he break? He breaks those rules which are stopping him from realizing the vision of the company. For example, there is an administrative rule in every organization which says 9 o'clock you walk in and 5 o'clock you walk out. So anybody who comes beyond 9 is marked late. Fair enough. This rule is meant for the purpose of a discipline. After all, every rule has got a purpose behind it. Now imagine a leadership thinker who doesn't come on time, who doesn't leave on time, but he is serving the larger purpose of the organization. He is achieving things which are huge. Not a rule breaker for the sake of rule breaking, but somebody who does something different. I'm giving a very tiny example. Now, if this person is put under the administrative lens, he would be seen as a person who is breaking rules of not coming on time. I want all of us to understand, I'm not talking about time management. I'm not saying that you can go late. Now, for the purpose of the larger picture, are you willing to take a risk of breaking this rule of time? This is true about many aspects into which you're boxed in. Every middle manager is boxed in and he operates efficiently within the box. That very box, which gives him the security and the feeling of success, becomes his liability as time progresses. Now that's a time when he knows within him that I need to go through a breakthrough. Since he's got so much of experience behind him, he's in a position to take a risk. He could take a risk and start doing things which he cherishes to do for the larger purpose of the organization. He could shift his paradigm from a managerial thinking into a leadership thinking, which, as we popularly call this, out of box thinking. He needs to think laterally. He needs to come out of his tunnel vision. Me, myself, my specialization, my department. My success factors on which you keep on gloating. Can I do something different? Can I shift my paradigm? Can I come out of this and start doing something different? Take a risk. And people who have done it have succeeded in becoming leaders. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a process of thinking and action. It requires certain type of a mindset. Do we have the mindset is a question that middle managers need to be asking themselves. You are working in a company, you have achieved considerable amount of success, and now where do I move from here upwards? I'm sure all of you will agree that you reach a certain position. One of the management laws says you rise to the level of incompetence. It sounds very weird. You're competent and you come to a stage where there's a roadblock and you can't proceed further. Some of you must be going through this, and that's quite challenging, quite frustrating. So, now please understand one more thing. You have your own dreams. You started off with a fantastic dream and a vision and a type of a target, a goal that I want to become somebody in an organization. Somebody means you're aiming for the top position. Don't we all do that? Every self-respecting, hard-working professional would certainly like to do that. Now this particular journey somehow gets halted halfway through when you become a middle manager. That's why there is crowding in the middle and there's space at the top. Because few people are able to make the breakthrough. By this, I'm not suggesting that all the people sitting at the top level are leaders. No. Leadership is not a position. A person who's designated as a CEO or a CMD need not be leadership in his thinking. My emphasis on leadership, my emphasis is more on how you think differently. Are you thinking expansively? Or are you concerned about small things only? I have to think about the small things, act upon the small things with reference to the larger things. This is a type of a thinking that comes only to few people. There's a tool called Integrative Thinking. And that Integrative Thinking is one of the tools that is useful for many managers to convert themselves from managerial thinking into leadership thinking, from acting as managers into acting as leaders. It has its risk. It has its huge payoff as well. Because when you start working with a lot of freedom, which you bestow on yourself, all of you will agree that with the freedom comes what is called as responsibility. The responsibility which most of us enjoy when we are going up the organization is a responsibility within a space, within a confined space. Now the leadership responsibility is self-driven and it gives you ample scope to be highly disciplined with yourself in whatever you do, whatever you say, and whatever you act upon. Good leaders are the ones who actually have made a breakthrough. Once upon a time, they had a set of behaviors which brought them to a level of success. Beyond that, success is more of a conceptual nature. When I say conceptual, I mean you have to understand the larger picture. I have to look at my whole organization as a concept. I'm talking to you in this small session, and in this session, do I see the larger picture of a small half-an-hour session? When I do that, I'm able to go from the ordinary into the extraordinary. Now, this is my invitation to all of us, whether we are into that or not. Okay, now as we do this, I'll take some questions. I think there are some people who have come online. Let me check out some questions. So, Celicia Gomes, good afternoon to you, and here is your question. What are the common problems faced by women managers in an organization? Very good question, Celicia. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Celicia, sorry. So, it's a good question. Women managers face quite a few peculiar challenges. I say peculiar because on one hand, they are excellent in what they do. They are more sincere, in my observation, than most of the male members. Now, having said that, they work very sincerely and they would like to go up in the organization because of their competence. They prove it also very well. But in many cases, there is always a lingering doubt. My observation, I'm not making a comment. There's a lingering doubt that whether she would be able to perform better at the higher levels. This particular thing is still happening in quite a few organizations, not all. There are quite a lot of organizations where women have gone up and they have occupied senior most positions of CEO and like. In this case, what happens is, Celicia, ladies go through a challenge about proving themselves in the gender battle, if I can use a term. At the same time, they have to stay tuned to performing, rubbing their shoulders with other males who are most of the times a little more aggressive. The other thing which I come across is, being a woman, being a lady, they might be subjected to certain unpleasant experiences with people around. It's so very challenging to handle these situations as you grow higher and higher in the organization. At the lower level, it's easy to speak out and it's easy to redress grievances. But at the higher levels, it could become quite an embarrassing situation. I know of some very senior lady managers who have quit the company abruptly, only to come to know later on in a private session that there was some harassment done on them. Now, these are the few things that come to my mind, Celicia, as I'm answering your question. Thanks for being there. Let me take some more. I'll take the question by Pranali Sawant. Pranali, good afternoon to you. And sir, how relevant is it to take risk at the cost of job security for the bigger vision of the organization and also climbing up the highest level of management. Pranali, this is exactly what I'm talking. It's each individual's risk appetite. Do I have the capacity to take a risk? On one hand, you're talking about job security. Now, job security means the security becomes your main purpose of staying in the job. And security is in the mind, according to me. As an engineer who started off a career in industry, there was a time when I came out of a job security. I'm not saying that you have to do it, Pranali. I'm just giving an example. So security is in the head, according to me. If you start looking at security from the monetary point of view, I have some suggestion to you, Pranali. Ask yourself a simple question. My home runs in how much amount of money per month? I have a small thumb rule I can give you. Multiply that by 24 months, which is 2 years of money. Can you keep that money separately and start taking decisions which are not the ordinary but extraordinary? What is security for most of us, Pranali? Security is money for most people. The comfort of going early morning to the office, working and coming back in the evening, and feeling that you're occupied, which is very normal. Nothing wrong about it. But are you willing to challenge that for something which is your pet vision, Pranali? Some vision you have within you, and you've been wanting to do something for so many years. Are you going to die with the vision? Or are you going to really realize the vision? This question only you can answer. This is just a thought-provoking talk which I'm giving all of you, and it is individual choice to take it or not take it. Okay, Pranali, I hope you got most of it. Now I come to Raj Aryan. Raj Aryan is coming. Good afternoon, Raj Aryan. In the transition from worker to manager, how can the organization help? When you're going from the workers level, operation level to the manager level, the organization puts you into certain training and development. In organizations which are progressive, they put you into MDP, management development programs. They give you skills which you are supposed to have when you become a manager. They also put you into some MBA courses which is applicable for most of you. This is what companies do. Are there any workshops to attend? There are lots of workshops, Raj, for you to attend, and which will take you to a different type of a thinking and practice. It's possible, Raj. Okay. Now let me take one more question. Sailesh Patkar. Good afternoon, Sailesh Patkar. What to do when there is a scarcity of resources? Good question. And how to take the right calls. Now when I say scarcity of resources, it could be money, it could be time, it could be age. Now again, I'm saying this may sound very weird to some of you. Scarcity of resources is the best moment for you to make a breakthrough. When you have less resources, when resources are not available to you, does your mind think inventive or not? Does it not think inventive? Tell me. And since your mind thinks inventive, Sailesh, don't you think that you become more creative? And since you become creative, don't you do a most innovative job? Consider the time, Sailesh, when you had some resource issue. Maybe you had limited amount of money in your pocket as a schoolboy or a college student, and you went to the college or the school, and you had to take the full day with the limited money. Were you creative enough in using the money for your eatables and lunch and whatever you had to eat? And at the end of it, surprise of surprise, Sailesh, you must even save some money, I'm sure. Now, I would say resource crunch is the ideal position where you can become a leader from a managerial thinking, if you ask me. The point is, are you willing to take it? It's again your own call. And there are training programs that actually promote you into that type of thinking. Okay, Sailesh? So, let me take some more questions. There is Nupur Shivalkar. How can a middle manager balance senior management and junior management expectations? Again, a good question, Nupur. A very simple thumb rule I can tell you from my own discussions. When I'm dealing with people below me, I've got to be very structured in my approach. When I'm dealing with people above me, I need to be other than structured. I won't call it non-structured, other than structured. You see, remember one thing. Every chaotic situation has got its own rules. Every chaotic situation has got its own rules. Sometimes the top management gives you a call to do something which appears haywire, which appears bizarre. Now, are you in a position to look at the top management's call from a different point of view, from a different angle altogether? So my recommendation, I speak for myself, I deal with a lot of organizations, I'm a leadership trainer. So when I go to leadership training, the people whom I'm training are usually at a certain level, they are about to become managers, but the people with whom I'm negotiating my business are usually business leaders at the level of CEOs and CXOs. Now such people, when I talk to them, I know that they are talking something which is beyond the words. So if you start understanding that there is something beyond the words, when top management talks, you start catching what they want to say. You'll get the mind of the leader. This is also available at the lower level. People below you, there might be some emerging leaders. Are you able to listen to them? Are you able to catch what they're saying beyond the ordinary? So I would say that it's important for you to understand, Shailesh, that you have to go beyond the ordinary. Okay, rather Nupur, I'm sorry, right? So let's take some more questions if there are. Are there some more questions? Okay, Pranali, I'll take one more question of you. Sir, you mentioned about managing situations in crisis and taking the needful decision. But what if it doesn't conform to few rules of the organizations while doing so? You hit the nail on the head, Pranali. All the more reason why you should do it. I wanted to read this book called The Opposable Mind, written by Roger Martin. The Opposable Mind by Roger Martin. I'll repeat. The Opposable Mind by Roger Martin. Now that's a book which I cherish because he talks about what is called as integrative thinking, integrative management. Now if you are in a position to break a rule, this book is giving you case studies about leaders who were under tight spot conditions and they had to break rules. Not ordinary small companies, companies which are big names, MNCs, huge names. And these CEOs, these senior people, they broke rules. Now, if you are willing to break a rule to make a difference to the organization, well, you get the satisfaction of doing something. The next question that may be cropping up in your mind is, what about my security? Will I get sacked? Will I get punished? If the rules are illegal, I repeat, if the rules are illegal, you have a problem. But if the rules are not illegal, it is serving the larger purpose of the organization, the larger purpose of the vision, then these sidestepping would be pardoned. A good management will definitely look at the larger picture for which you took the role, the action. So this is something which you can try to do. It has its risk, Pranali. The point is you have to take it. Okay. Any more questions we can answer? Are there some more questions? Okay. Now friends, I hope you enjoyed this session. All I wanted to tell you all is do rise to become good managers. All of us come from good backgrounds. We join organizations and we rise gradually. We start gaining confidence. We become secure and we come to a point of security where the security becomes a liability. I want all the middle managers who are listening to me to go beyond the liability by challenging the very liability and saying that, look, I have some pet dreams, I have some pet projects, I have some pet thoughts which are very unique, and I know when I look at the larger picture of the organization today, after so many years of experience, that I can do something. Take up a step. Have a group of people around you with whom you can confide. There is not a single person whose ideas will be shot down. You have to find the right people in your organization to whom you can convey your ideas which may appear out of box. There could be a few out of box thinkers at the top level. They could buy in your idea. And once they buy in your idea, it may see the light of the day. So my sincere request to all of you is, yes, middle management has got a lot of challenges, but the opportunities are far more. Are you willing to bell the cat? It's in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Venkat Iyer, for this really insightful session. Well, friends, this session was brought to you by the PGDM Hybrid Division of Welingkar Institute. Well, if you or your friends and acquaintances want to enroll for the hybrid program, please do call us on 022 4051 4051. That's the admission helpline number. See you next week. Until then, have a great learning experience. Thank you.